How is the crisis affecting you and your organisation?
Hyperion employs over 5,500 people in 40 countries. And for us, our priority was our people. Since I founded the company 25 years ago, our focus has always been building a sustainable business where at the very heart of it is our employee ownership and our people first mentality. So for us, priority number one was get our people safe. Second was get them working efficiently. And third was how do we then focus on delivering for our clients. Luckily, we've done huge investment over the last 4 to 5 years in our IT and infrastructure. This meant that we could get 90% of our staff within just 7 days working effectively from home. This meant that they could focus on servicing our clients, many of whom, of course, were finding this a very challenging time and a time when they needed to rely on us. So first and foremost, it was get our people safe. But secondly, it was get our people working effectively for the benefits of our clients. The third thing we then looked at is how do we actually push forward from this? How do we actually take an opportunity to deliver more for our clients in what we know is going to be a very challenging situation? For me, the priority was how to get our business operating as efficiently as possible. And indeed, not just on a business as usual basis, but on a growth basis. We are a growth business, and actually wherever there's crisis, there's opportunity. And because we were able to mobilise our people in an aligned fashion across many jurisdictions, we actually won some of our largest clients ever during this time. A good example would be Petronas in Malaysia. We're harnessing our people working remotely but skillfully in Malaysia, Singapore, Middle East, London, and actually in Spain. We were able to secure coverage that the clients needed and win that important account. The same was the case for a major German manufacturer of cars, which was struggling to find the right liability insurances for its directors. So to me, the focus was to get our clients operating their businesses as effectively as possible in a very challenging time. And to do that, we had to be operating efficiently. But of course, it wasn't just a question of could we actually find the technical way of operating. There's the emotional way of operating. Of course, some of our offices, particularly in Asia and then in Spain and Italy, were in lockdown earlier and for longer. And we learnt the lessons as we went along. We made sure we engaged with our people to ensure that not only could they actually, from a technical point of view, continue to serve as our clients, but actually they were also, from an emotional point of view, supported. We identified that in a funny way, working from home was quite nice for some. They actually revelled in it and were very productive. But there were others that working from home was a much harder challenge. Maybe they didn't have the space to do it correctly. Maybe they had young children or situations that made working from home more difficult. And so we reached out to them through the Hyperion Foundation to find ways of getting them a better working environment. And I think that's one of the interesting things. We have for so long as a management team, and many actually a management team, I'm sure, talked about agile working and our ability to deliver that. And the amazing thing is that we were forced by this terrible pandemic to stop talking about it and do it. And by gosh, did we just look back and say, wow, that's incredible. And I think one of the lessons learned from COVID-19 is no turning back. I think we've now seen what's available. Recently, we held our European conference. It was designed originally, of course, to be physical, with people flying in, actually all meeting up in Seville, and to have a wonderful gathering of people and views and sharing of ideas. And it would have been lovely. We held it all remotely, and it was fantastic. The engagement was incredible. The number of people that attended was incredible. And we did it without anyone leaving their house, you know? And so we've learned actually that you can do things not just as a replacement, but actually in a way better and for the long term. As an international business, we've often got people traveling around, flying around, seeing other offices, seeing other clients. We now have to sit and question whether that's necessarily the right thing to do going forward. We've done our global people survey right in the middle of this crisis. We did it deliberately. We had an enormous 86% engagement. And do you know what? Two striking features came out of that. The first and foremost, I was most pleased with, 93% of our staff said we acted as best we possibly could in COVID-19. And that is what I wanted to hear. But initially, 86% have said that they never want to go back full time to the old way of working. And I think this is a critical fact, that we've moved on as a business, and I'm sure many businesses have also, to talking about how can we use technology to change our working environment, to be able to reach out to people that we might not have otherwise be able to employ for different reasons, to build a better, diverse talent base within our business. So I think, for me, the opportunity that's been thrust upon us by this terrible pandemic is actually very significant, and one we're going to embrace. When I look at how the economic landscape's going to change, I think of this in a number of ways. I don't have any better crystal ball than anyone else to be able to tell what the long-term effects of the economy is going to be. What I can do is look at my own industry and understand how we can not only have lessons learned from what we did well and what we did not so well, but also how we can be part of the solution. I'm a big believer that the only thing that's going to help us as a company, us as an industry, and the greater economy to push through as fast as we can this crisis and come out the other side is innovation. It's mankind's great ability, and it's the one thing that can really move us forward fast. We have to change and we have to innovate. So for me, the question is, what are the insurance products that we now need to be putting in place to make sure that we can support our clients as they in turn innovate with their businesses to drive the economy forward? If we look back and think about some of the losses that weren't covered by the insurance policies, then we have to think, how do we make sure in the future that they have got the right coverage in place? How do we have that debate? If the next great big unforeseen black swan is cyber, have we got the right policies in place for our clients to be able to overcome that? So I think for us, it's all about how we look to support individuals, small businesses and large organisations to be there in the future, ready and able to survive what's next. I think insurance to me has always been the oil in the engine. It's what makes the world go round. Now, of course, it needs to be the battery in the electric car, and it needs to innovate continuously to make sure it is relevant and it is supporting both individuals and economies through businesses, large and small, as they grow their businesses and develop. And to me, the big lessons learned from COVID-19 is that we don't know what to expect. And therefore we have to prepare for the unexpected.